The bustling city street outside the luxury office tower was loud with the honks of impatient drivers and the chatter of hurried pedestrians. But for Amelia Gray, the CEO of one of the country's fastest-growing tech companies, the world outside her tinted car windows often faded into nothing more than background noise. Every minute of her life was planned, every step calculated, every decision worth millions. This morning, however, something pierced through that invisible barrier she had built between herself and the rest of the world. As her sleek black car slowed to a stop at the entrance of the building, she saw a little figure standing near the glass doors. The girl couldn't have been more than 7, thin, pale, her oversized sweater swallowing her small frame. Her tangled hair was tied into 2 uneven pigtails, and her shoes were scuffed beyond recognition. She clutched something in her small hands, a worn-out teddy bear with one eye missing. When Amelia stepped out of the car, the little girl looked up, her eyes wide and trembling. Then, with a voice that cracked like fragile glass, she asked, "I don't have Mama. Can I spend a day with you, ma'am?" The words hit Amelia like an unexpected punch to the chest. For a moment, she froze, unsure if she had heard correctly. She was used to people asking her for jobs, business deals, charity donations, but never for something like this. "Where's your mother?" Amelia asked cautiously, her voice softer than she intended. The girl swallowed hard. She's gone. Forever. And my aunt, she's too busy. I just thought maybe you could be my mama for today. I'll be quiet. I won't bother you. Amelia's security guard took a step forward, ready to usher the child away, but Amelia raised her hand. Something in the girl's eyes, a deep, aching loneliness, made her heart stir in a way it hadn't in years. Against every rule she normally lived by, Amelia knelt down and said, "What's your name?" "Lila," the girl whispered. And that was how the most unexpected day of Amelia Gray's life began. Inside her top-floor office, Lila sat nervously on the leather couch while Amelia's assistant gawked in confusion. "Ma'am, should I?" "It's fine, Clara," Amelia interrupted. "Cancel my morning meetings." The assistant blinked. "All of them?" "Yes, all of them." Amelia wasn't sure what she was doing. Her schedule was a machine, and any disruption was a disaster. But when she looked at Lila clutching that old teddy bear, she knew that some things mattered more than business. They started small. Amelia ordered breakfast from the executive dining floor, and when the silver trays arrived, Lila's eyes grew wide at the sight of pancakes topped with strawberries and cream. "I've never had these before," Lila said in awe. "You've never had pancakes?" Amelia asked, surprised. "Not like these. At home, we just have bread. Sometimes jam if it's a special day." Amelia found herself watching the girl eat, noticing how she chewed slowly, as if savoring every bite like it might be her last. Something inside Amelia's chest tightened. She remembered being Lila's age, sitting alone at the kitchen table while her own parents argued in the other room, how she used to imagine a different life, one where someone noticed her. After breakfast, Amelia took Lila on a tour of the office. Employees stopped to stare. They had never seen the icy, untouchable CEO smiling, let alone holding the hand of a little girl. Lila asked endless questions about the computers, the view from the glass windows, and the awards lined up in the lobby. At one point, she looked up at Amelia and asked, "Is it hard to be the boss?" Amelia hesitated, then answered honestly, "It's hard to be alone while being the boss." Lila nodded as if she understood more than a child should. By noon, Amelia decided to take her out. They visited a small park nearby. Lila ran across the grass, her laughter carrying through the air. Amelia sat on a bench, watching her. It was the kind of simple joy Amelia had long forgotten existed. When Lila tired herself out, she came and sat beside her, holding her teddy bear close. "Ma'am, if I was your daughter, would you let me have a room with a window? I like looking at the stars." The question caught Amelia off guard. "Of course I would," she said without thinking. Lila's eyes lit up, but then dimmed just as quickly. "It's just, at my aunt's house, I sleep in the storage room. It smells like paint." Amelia felt her throat tighten. In her world, people fought over boardroom seats and property deals, but here was a little girl whose biggest dream was a room with a window. The afternoon passed in quiet moments, shopping for a pair of new shoes for Lila, sharing ice cream by the fountain, and sitting together in the car as the city lights began to flicker on. Amelia learned that Lila's father had left before she was born, her mother had died of illness last year, and her aunt was struggling to raise 3 children on a single income. When they pulled up outside the small, worn-down apartment where Lila lived, the girl suddenly hugged Amelia tightly. "Thank you for today," she whispered. "You were my mama, just for a little while." Amelia didn't speak. Her throat was too tight. She just held the child, feeling the fragility of the moment. That night, Amelia couldn't sleep. Lila's words replayed in her mind. Just for a little while. The next morning, Amelia found herself standing outside the same apartment. She had no real plan, only the certainty that she couldn't just walk away. She knocked, and Lila's aunt answered, startled to see the famous CEO on her doorstep. After a long conversation, filled with hesitation, paperwork, and promises, Amelia left with something she never expected. The beginning of guardianship for a little girl who had asked her for just one day, and in doing so, had changed her life forever. Months later, Lila had her own room in Amelia's penthouse, complete with a big window that looked out at the stars. And sometimes, when Amelia was working late, she'd hear tiny footsteps, and Lila would peek in, holding her teddy bear. "Good night, Mama," she'd say. And every time, Amelia would smile, realizing that in giving Lila a family, she had found one for herself too. Moral of the story. Sometimes the smallest voices carry the greatest power to break down the tallest walls we build around our hearts. All it takes is one act of compassion to change 2 lives forever. The winter wind rattled against the tall glass windows of Amelia Gray's penthouse, but inside, warmth filled the air, not just from the soft lighting or the fireplace, but from the sound of little footsteps running across the polished floor. "Careful, Lila," Amelia called from the kitchen, glancing over as the girl skipped into the room, her teddy bear bouncing in her arms. "I'm being careful," Lila giggled, her hair now neatly combed into pigtails with pink ribbons Amelia had bought. She was dressed in a cozy sweater and new jeans, still growing into them, but happy nonetheless. It had been 6 months since that strange, life-changing day outside the towering glass doors of Amelia's office. 6 months since a little girl with trembling eyes had asked for just a day, and ended up becoming part of her life. But life was not without challenges. Amelia was still the CEO of a billion-dollar company, and though she now carved out time for bedtime stories and school drop-offs, the demands of her job never stopped. Investors didn't care that she had to attend a school play. Board members didn't understand why their usually ice-cold, work-obsessed leader would cancel a late-night meeting because someone at home needs me. It was also clear Lila was still healing from the past. Some nights she woke up crying, clutching her teddy bear, calling for her mother. Other times she would sit silently by the window, staring out at the stars without speaking for hours. Amelia tried to reach her, but she knew love was not built in a day, it was built in hundreds of small moments. One Saturday morning, Amelia had to attend a charity gala, a networking event disguised as generosity. She planned to leave Lila with a babysitter, but when the girl looked up with wide eyes and asked, "Can I come with you?" "I promise I'll be good," Amelia hesitated. "This isn't really a place for kids," she explained. "But I don't like when you go without me." Amelia knelt down, brushing a strand of hair from Lila's face. "You know I'll always come back, right?" Lila didn't answer. Her silence told Amelia more than words ever could. Lila had known too many people who didn't come back. So that evening, instead of walking into the gala alone, Amelia entered holding a small hand in hers. Lila wore a simple, soft blue dress Amelia had picked out, and though she clung shyly to her side, she smiled whenever Amelia introduced her. The room was filled with polished smiles and diamond necklaces. Some guests whispered, curious about the little girl. Amelia ignored them. When the host took the stage to speak about funding for orphanages, Amelia felt Lila squeeze her hand. The girl leaned in and whispered, "Ma'am, that's where I stayed once. Before my aunt." Amelia's heart dropped. She hadn't known. Was it bad? Lila shook her head slowly. "It wasn't bad. But it wasn't home. Those words stayed with Amelia for the rest of the night. Weeks later, Amelia found herself visiting that same orphanage without telling Lila. The building was old, the walls dull, but the children's laughter echoed in the hallways. She spoke with the director, learning how short-staffed and underfunded they were. She thought of Lila, how close she had come to spending her whole childhood in a place like this. That night, she sat Lila down at the kitchen table. "Do you remember when you asked me to be your mama for just one day?" Amelia asked. Lila nodded slowly. "Well," Amelia continued, "I think maybe that was the start of forever." Lila's eyes lit up. "You mean, you're going to keep me forever?" "Yes, sweetheart, forever." The tears that followed weren't just Lila's, Amelia felt them too. But forever came with responsibility. Amelia began officially working through the adoption process, knowing it wouldn't be quick or easy. There were interviews, background checks, home visits. Some officials raised eyebrows at the idea of a high-profile CEO raising a child on her own. "She needs someone who's present," one social worker told her bluntly. "I will be present," Amelia said firmly. "I'm not just making time for her. She is my time now." One late spring evening, as the city lights glittered below, Lila stood by her bedroom window. "Ma'am," she called softly. "Yes, Lila," Amelia replied, stepping into the room. "Do you think Mama can see me from the stars?" Amelia sat beside her on the bed, wrapping an arm around her. "I think she can, and I think she's proud you found your way to me." For a long moment, they just sat there, looking up at the night sky. Lila leaned her head on Amelia's shoulder, and Amelia realized something. She had built an empire, but this was the most important thing she would ever build.